Well, guys, got some. It's slight bad news, but some very good news. Um, Thanks to Matt, who pointed this out in one of the videos, and plus I didn't notice it, but I was concentrating more on the high voltage and horizontal end of things. We never heard the vertical, output. It's very distinct buzzing. Well, this is the vertical output transformer, and it was most likely damaged due to rodent urine. Yeah, it was really corroded. Well, oh shit! See,
just broke it more.
I was just trying to move a wire out of the way. Now, excuse me. Now let me say this: I tried to unwrap it to this point and try to sand off the leads and resolder it on. The red lead broke off right down the middle here where this one just broke off, as easy it is just by moving it, making it useless now. You'd have to rewind the whole transformer. So now we have two wires that are broken off because they're heavily corroded. Well, after a quick, well, it wasn't quick, it took 2 days of searching around. I was trying to search for substitution transformers, like a list or whatever. I happened to come across one on eBay, the only one, and it wasn't in the title. It was buried in the description when I found it and confirmed it with its own paperwork. First, we'll go back to Sam's here. The vertical output transformer is T4. As you can see right in the middle here, it's 77823. Well, there you go. 77823. It's a Thordarson. New old stock in the box. Vertical output transformer. Even the green lead is the proper length. The bracket's a little bent, but we'll fix that when we install it. So this is the original box, and for those of you that for some reason may need this type of transformer, this is the model. It's the 26S18. So this is the box. So very happy we found this. So, and here's the paperwork that was included with it. Again, it was probably in its box its whole life. It's only yellowed, like right out there where you can see it was exposed. The impedances and resistances match. Sam's calls for 600 ohms and 17 ohms, but yeah, it's just probably just different gauge wiring or whatever, and impedances are correct. The turns ratio matches it identically. So yeah. All right, right now we're going to be winding a new field neutralization coil, and Harley, explain what this contraption is.
Okay, well, the field neutralization coil, or FNC, so to speak, we need it to be 17¼ inches in diameter. And I just happened to find this blue plastic bucket at a thrift store, and it is exactly 17¼ inches in diameter. So what I did is I screwed these angle brackets on. It's the correct width of the coil, and I cut these V-shaped parts in here, because what we're going to do is wind the magnet wire on the outer edge of this, and then once it's done, we're going to come in here with some tape or zip ties or whatever it takes to bundle it up temporarily and get it off of here, and then use Captain tape to secure it. So what I did is I put a bolt through the bottom. I found the exact center of it. I'm going to put the drill on here like so and tighten it down. And then I'm going to hold the inside, and what's going to happen is when we turn it, slowly, that is, then this will rotate and it will act as sort of a spool to wind the magnet wire up on. So, in the words of Stewie Griffin, I helped.
Well, we had a major change in plans on how to do this due to that plastic heap not working. This is actually a 16-inch, well, it measures 17-inch, but that's off a 16-inch JCPenney rebadged Lasco from the early 80s. It was the perfect dimension, and we're able to wind all 1,150 feet of magnet wire, number 26 gauge.
It's the correct wire.
Yep. Yeah, the old one, the rodent damage was down several layers deep in the one spot, so it was probably toast. There's no way it could have been repaired. But this will do it. We got this Captain tape to wrap around it and to hold it in its shape. So finish trying to get this off very carefully. And now that we got that neutralization coil done, the cabinet is finally finished. Lacquer still has to cure, but I have it laying on its back right now. Put 4 new feet on it. The old ones are rusty and cruddy. I mean, in fact, one of them just plain rusted and fell off. And Harley stained the cabinet and started lacquering it. I finished lacquering it. Painted the gold stripe back on the front. So yeah, now it just has to cure. But it's nice and shiny. I mean, look what happens when I put my foot next to it now. Okay, now we got the field neutralization coil on here. It's supposed to be 47 ohms and we're reading about 48. I say that's pretty close. Actually, it's bouncing. It's like 47.8 or so. But
That's not bad for a homemade coil.
yeah.
The first attempt that we've ever done of making a coil.
Yep. And the right diameter and everything. So now I'm gonna tape it and go from there. And the final product, the original wire and plug is hooked back up. Resistance is checked perfect. And for reference, here's the original field neutralization coil for size. And there you go. I say that's perfect. We did good. So now I just got to clean up some crunchies that were on the front bezel that were where it used to sit, and then I'll try to install it, and I'll show that in a few minutes. Okay, and then here's the final product installed with the original plug on it still. It's the same size, but it's not as rigid as the old one, and it would move around, so I put a dab of very small amount of hot glue at each corner just so it doesn't shift around any. But other than that, it's exactly laying there exactly how it should be right now. Measuring in at 48 ohms, which it's the same gauge wire as the original number 26. So that should work just fine. And the original one definitely could not be repaired because the damage is several layers deep with rodent, damage. So there's no saving that one. This had to be done, but this should do the trick. Now to install it back in the TV. And here it is, starting some reassembly on the cabinet. I already put the speaker grill cloth assembly back in. Bezel back in. I cleaned that up and polished it. Now, let's see, we got the convergence focus knobs reinstalled. Now the cabinet, I just finished lacquering yesterday. We're gonna wait about a week and then we'll do the final buffing of it. And should be it. And this is how the field neutralization coil looks now in the cabinet. So that was a successful repair. And it's probably been a little more than a month since the last update, but with good reason. Lots of real life stuff happening, preventing me from working on it. And this, well, mica capacitors. As I mentioned when I first started this, they're not supposed to be bad, but I'm reading, researching, and in the last decade or so, people are starting, people restore radios, TVs, starting to see that these capacitors are starting to fail, and it also fail in a weird way too. They could either be off value, or they may look good on a capacitance checker, but when you put it in circuit operating at the rated frequency, since they're mostly used in tuned circuits, what may happen is they start doing weird things. And one of the weird things was my horizontal oscillator frequency. As you can see, the adjustment is right back where it was at factory. If you recall, when I first powered on this TV, it had a bit of a whine to it. Well, it was only running at about 10 kilohertz. Backing out the adjustment all the way, I got, until it stopped, it was very glitchy. It was around 15.4 kilohertz. After I replaced the mica capacitors in that circuit, and I put that back in the middle, it fired right up, right at 15.7 kilohertz approximately. My horizontal hold on the front of the TV prior to it did absolutely nothing. Now it actually works after changing those out. And I found pretty much all the sub 1000 picofarad caps to be way off value. The ones above it were, still within tolerance, but I changed them anyhow. And yes, that did make a difference. In the tone control, I changed that mica cap right there, even though it read correctly. Now I get much better treble and bass response. Anyhow, now that works, but I couldn't tell if it was working correctly because the horizontal frequency was so way off, but it was whining, so it's working now at least. But let's get into what I worked on today. So yeah, we just put the Aerodag G on the picture tube. It's completely dry. As you can see, it looks great. And everything's prepped on the tube. So now we're going to start reassembling the components on the tube. Right now this is the blue gun, and if this is 6 o'clock, then the anode lead clips on at 7 and it's going to exit at 9 according to this diagram. We're viewing this tube upside down because when we put it in, it'll be flipped around 180 degrees. That is what was wrong when I got the TV. The blue gun was on the bottom installed, so that was completely wrong, and that's probably where the guy gave up, because as it turns out, and some people pointed out, this may have been a rebuilt tube. There's the weld right there. Now, rebuilt as in rebuilt back in the day, like I think the serial on this I said was 1959, so this is a rebuilt tube from about 1959, assuming. And yeah, now I'm going to install the insulator. We got the insulator installed. Anode lead exits at the 9 o'clock position. Use that Captain tape again. Hold it in place, which is really good. It clips on at 7, as I mentioned. And when I did this, the Aquadag, Aerodag, whatever, is right at the lip of this, so it's like the perfect, measurement they made. Okay, 15 GP22 installed. Blue gun on top this time. Exiting at 9 o'clock. When upright, it'll be 3 o'clock approximately. It's loose, so we can check it against the decorative mask. So let's stand it up. Not too bad. I'm gonna have to loosen it and try to rotate it a little bit.
I'm gonna sit up here. And Leah, shush, girl. Please, please, please. I'm right here. Okay. Come here. Oh, I see indicator light already. Sound.
The hell?
It's colors.
It's weird colors. I don't have any audio though.
I hear it. I mean, yeah. It's making a picture though. Look at that line.
Is it whining?
Yeah. Okay, so this is the first test after Spats worked on this all night or whatever. I'll let him do all the explaining, but we're just gonna see if we have a picture. We don't know. We may or may not. All right, we got the tone. God, this is killing me.
All right, now what you saw in that clip there was we got vertical back. Vertical was working in that clip. The problem was, as you can tell also from the original clip, when you have no vertical, you should have at least a collapsed line, and we had that big blob. So the issue with that was focus, which brought on to the next step, which I failed to make a video on. The entire high voltage cage was wired incorrectly. Not by me, but by the previous owner. Wired it exactly as the schematic. And, well, you'll see what happens in the next clip.
Okay, I'm recording. You have the tone playing too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This could be the first picture on the TV so far. Or it could be a stubborn little bitch. Hey, at least it fills the whole screen now. Whoa, wait a minute.
Oh.
That's something new. It's focusing now.
Yes, it is. It's a little funky, but see how much on it is tailspin, and I did it. Although I don't have any color, but it's working.
You could squash her.
Oh my gosh, everyone's freeze!
All three guns, red, green, and blue, are working because we have perfect grayscale, but yeah, getting a picture.
Maybe black and white, but it's working. Yes, I know there's still some issues.
Lady. Oh, get it!
Well, it may still need a little tweaking and obviously color, but it sure is. Well, it sure is playing TV, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hold on, Becky, I got it!
I'm gonna go upload that right now.
Yeah, you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got it working finally.
Toast? What else?
How can you think about food at a time like this?
It's much in drunken little girls, doesn't it?
Here we go again. How am I going to find her, Baloo? She could be anywhere.
Yep. This is it.
We just gotta think this through rationally.
I am thinking rationally.
No, you're thinking loudly.
This the audio in this. Holy crap.
I hate being little. Over there. Baloo, over there.
I'm just so happy it's producing a picture.
The rats! Molly! This place has rats!
I've been meaning to get a cat.
After them, Baloo!
Funny, I don't recall the engines ever making that sound before.
And they're not making that sound now.
Hang on!
Baloo!
Who put the fee in their pocket? These guys are good.
Help, kid! We've got hornets on our tail! Eat plastic, fly boys! Kid, stop!
Looks like it's up to us. Let's see how they like being stung for a change.
That's taking care of those fussy bodies.
Awful cowardly for hornets. Must be yellow jackets.
But we're too late. Molly!
Hold tight.
I've got a new idea. Television!
What's television?
A device to send radio shows into your house with pictures. So, anyone for toast?
What an odd little man.
Yeah, and what a dumb idea. Radio with pictures. I bet this is the last time we hear of Dr. Zapaldo or television. Come on, let's go home.